Hello and welcome to WOW's Operation Replays. Today we are reviewing Nelson, the Tier 7 Premium Royal Navy battleship. Now Nelson, you cannot get anymore. She has been removed from sale due to overperformance and to create artificial scarcity. As Wargaming does with some ships like Smollin, Summers, Smollin, Julio Cesare, basically any removed ship, basically. Now, back in the day, you could get this ship for 375,000 free XP, which, of course, now makes it look cheap. But back then, that was still a pretty good amount of free XP. Now, I got it for free XP, and I'm so glad I did. You can only get this ship now in super containers and if you whale at Christmas and get lucky. My buddy Cap, as you guys know I play with, was lucky enough to get it in, well, one of the Santa gifts. One of the cheap Santa gifts. So, he was lucky to get this ship. Now, Nelson, let's look at her. No military contributor flag. So, 5% to credits, 55 to ship XP, 65 to commander XP, and then 100 with bonus package and 50 from your clan. Okay? Armor-wise, she doesn't look that armored. Sorry. 26 millimeter bow, 32 millimeter side, 32 millimeter upper belt, 32 deck armor, and then a 26 millimeter bow or aft. So she is overmatchable by basically 16-inch guns, and well, most ships you'll face will go right through her bow. So the trick is to tank on this belt armor. Now, her turrets, you know, they've got, well, front barbette is 406, 279, 229, 129 on the back, and then 184 on the top. So let's say you have your guns pointed to your right, and you got shot. Your gun turrets all got shot from the back by a ship at point-blank range that didn't want to shoot your Citadel, but just wanted to knock out all your guns. It would knock out your guns because the armor's still pitiful there. But let's bring out some of that. Let's take some of her armor off for you. Sorry, I'm having trouble. And we'll show you her Citadel. That's her Citadel. That's Nelson Citadel, clear above the waterline. Now, there's also something that not many players that have had Nelson for a long time know that she does have another weak spot. You see how all of her guns are on the front? Usually that's an advantage. You can bounce armor on this 32 millimeter belt, but if you want to show that third turret, you have to expose your side more completely. So if he's shooting that third turret at you, or I'm shooting a third turret at you, or anyone, my side is exposed, meaning I can be punched. And like we showed, the Citadel is literally right there. Like, if I'm shooting you like this, my Citadel is basically exposed. So keep that in mind. If he's shooting the third turret, his Citadel is basically exposed. Survivability wise, 59,400, 19% torpedo reduction. So a torpedo reduction non-existent. You're gonna if you take torps, you're going down. Now she does get 9 406 millimeter guns, so really great gun caliber. So you'll overmatch most of the ships you'll face. And then and the gun caliber is 30-second reload, 18-second switch time with gun feeder, 45-second, 180 time. And since they're all on the bow, they just go back and forth. So really great. 225 max dispersion, 18-kilometer range, HE damage, or HE shells, 6,900, 46% fires, 102 millimeter pin, and 788 velocity. Now, if you're facing, like, say, Russian battleships, HE those things, because you'll pin them all over with that HE. This is British HE. But her AP damage, same velocity at 788 and at 12,000 max damage. So really decent AP also. Main batteries, they're all on practically the sides and the back. So 5-second reload, 6 kilometer range, 8% to fire, 1700 damage, 20 armor penetration, 749, and there's only 6 of the 120s. Then she gets basically her 155s or 152s that are all in the back, which have a 12-second reload, 6 kilometer range, 2150 max damage, 9% to fires, 25 to armor pin, and a velocity of 884. So not bad on those ones. But her airstrike, she gets 2 flights of Sutherland's for basically 3,400 max damage and 2 bombs. Basically, so she'll get 2 flights of anti-subs and 2 bombs. So that's a big weakness. And again, I think that was done for balance purposes for the ship, of course. AA, well, no AA. She gets 32 single mount Orlaken machine, 39 Orlaken machine guns, 6 pom-pom guns, and then her 120s. And continuous damage 200, shell explosion 1260, max range 5.2, not horrendous, it's pretty bad. Maneuverability 24 knots, turning circle 750, and a 15-second rudder shift. So pretty bad. She's a pretty slow ship. Detectability wise with a full build is 13.4. Equipment wise, you want to run, of course, main armaments 1, damage control modification 2, aiming systems 1, and then damage control 2. Now you could run the steering gears 1 if you really wanted to, but I would recommend taking damage control because she's HE susceptible all over. Now for exterior wise, she does get, this is her first camo, but her second camo is basically this. I personally like the second camo myself. For her build though, now again I'm running Mighty Jingles as on my incomparable, so, and he's 16 points, so gun feeder brisk, because I want some extra more speed, because you're only 24 knots. You want that extra speed. Adrenaline rush, emergency repair expert, concealment, and then I'd take fire prevention, so that'd jump me to 18. And then I would honestly take improved repair party specialist, so that's 21 points right there. If you didn't want to take fire prevention, that's 4 points, so you could take gun feeder, or if you wanted to go more survivability build, you could go repair specialist and then basics of survivability. That would probably be the most ideal one, because the gun traverse is already decent, so this is how it would probably be the best way to set it up, in my opinion, for Nelson. Now Collingwood would also do well with this build. Now for Collingwood though, you'd want to probably substitute emergency repair expert for consumer specialist, because Collingwood is like the Nelson replacement, and it does get a it does get a main battery reload booster, so you can maximize your reload booster. So you'd want to take consumable specialist with the Collingwood in exchange for damage repair specialist. But that pretty much wraps up the Nelson, so let's get into the replay and I'll show you. Hello and welcome to what I like to call the Toxic Tier 7 Division. Now, we wanted to originally go with 2 Belfasts, but Digital didn't have a Belfast, so we went with Atlanta. But all the ships have been toxic at one time or another. Nelson, this is a very strong ship, but squishy, but still very toxic. Belfast, well, let's face it, Belfast is toxic. And Atlanta used to be toxic back in the day. Like, we're talking like, what, 7 years ago? 7 to 6 years ago? It was, actually, no, about 7 years ago. It was, in the early heyday, it was a very, toxic ship. It would just maneuver at long range and just spam you, and you couldn't hit the damn thing. So this is what we call the toxic tier 7 division carry. Now, right off the bat, we have to deal with, we're mid-tier, so we have to deal with a Ranger, Northcote, Alabama, Nagato, Bayern, Atago, Congress, Annapolis, Surrey, Hinshang, Farragut, and a Gate. And the only thing we really have to worry about as cruisers are their cruisers, because we can avoid the battleship shells. But I mean, we're all fairly, skilled players. We're all really good, so we know what we're doing. And we were all taking turns picking divs or tiers, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take out Nelson. See how Nelson goes. Now, if you haven't picked up Nelson, the only ship that is like her is the Collinwood right now, and it's not even nowhere as good as Nelson. You get normal heals instead of a super heal, and you're going to see what the super heal really does, if you haven't already seen it already in Ops or anything. But it prints a new ship on the ship. It is hard to kill a Nelson unless you focus it down. If the Nelson is allowed to go dark and shoot, do its thing, it can just pump out the damage where it's practically hard to take out. And you see that right off the bat, you can see like 1, 2, 3, 6, 8 of their ships are in the south. That means the other 4 ships that means 3 of the other ships are in the north. And the CV, well, he's kind of just hugging that little island there. That CV stays there for this whole match. Doesn't really move. Now, you see, we have 2 Ds up north. So, there are the Hinshiangs up north. 2 of those DDs can kill the Hinshiang. The Inacio and the Amagi can kill the Bayern. But our Wichita, as you might have noticed, he was right there where the Gera was. He drove out, did a U-turn in front of that island in front of me, and then turned back around, and he just got slapped by literally the battleships and Congress, and everything just destroyed him. He could have sat right here on the island on my left and just kept spamming damage. He would have been able to tank and just do the damage. But he overextended, made a U-turn, or like what we call, and bonks and everything, gamer turns, and basically got deleted. My Belfast is smoked up, our Gera was kind of there spotting, but you can see that I have to get out of here, because it's not a safe place for me right now, because one good battleship salvo, and I lose about 2/3 of my health, or I'm gone. And I'm just keeping an eye on the map. But you see the Atago, or the Congress, is right there. I see some shells coming out of there. There's the Nagato. But the Atago makes a mistake of shooting in his smoke. And I nail him for 17,000. That's, if you're in Atago, yes, you want to shoot the DD, but not like that. That's not what you want to do. Now, the Amagi keeps saying, get back, get back, get back. He was what we called the sit in the back kind of guy and coordinate everything, basically. Even though he could have pushed that side with everything on that side, and there is absolutely nothing they could have done. But I gotta give hands to our Ignacio and our Farragut. Those players did work. They did work. Really good work. They, in a sense, held that whole side. And I gotta comp our CV2. He knew that, you know, we had this whole southern side, you know, boxed down. So he knew we weren't needed. So he helped out the weak side. Those 3 ships held that whole side and allowed us to just slowly take out these guys down here. I mean, look at them. They have all this battleship power. They could just steamroll us. And they just all formed up, went around this island. They could just go right through us. But they don't. Now, Yoda's basically telling the Kagero to go there because we thought the DD was real, though. There we go, picking up, well, their second radar ship. So we're tied on where we're, well, they only have 1 radar ship left. The Congress. And as you can see, we did have a huge radar advantage in Wichita, Belfast, Atlanta, and the Ignacio. So we had a huge radar advantage, a really huge radar advantage. And for tier, and being top tier at 8, that's just a lot of radar for any DD. And I think that's why their DDs are not wanting to really play that aggressive. I'm detected, so... But none of the battleships are shooting me. They're not shooting me. They're all wanting to shoot this New Mexico. Now, see, the Atago's right there. He's literally just going in reverse. And he's going to pay for that. The Atago goes out. He's basically... I got 40,000 damage on that one ship. And that is their only second... That's their first cruiser that has the heel. The other cruiser is the Congress. But to lose the Atago is a pretty big blow for them. And this is how you, if you know you're outnumbered, this is how you want to slowly give ground. You want to just slowly give the ground and just kind of throttle and just not retreat, but just kind of go back and forth and just kind of go dark and just try to give the ground just slowly. I try to shoot that DD so we can get him out. Because if our Kagero had actually just stayed back out there, he honestly, with the Belfast and me shooting, he could have killed that Farragut easily.
Enemy battleship sighted.
But the fact is that those battleships can't really move around while he's there. And you see Torps coming in. There's the Farragut. They do take out our Bismarck. So they do have the ship lead at basically 4-3. So they are hypothetically in the lead, but they're not pressing their advantage. They're all just clustered on that rock. And I guess you could call this a limit train, but it's... I honestly call it more of a clusterfuck. Because you can just see, and our Kagero just launch towards, but he thinks the gauge is going to go forward, but he goes backwards. So he messes that up. But in doing so, the gauge basically exposes himself to me. And I do take a pretty good salvo there. But I do pick up the gauge. So my health versus the gauge, it adds up. And right there you saw I just popped my super heal. I don't have to worry about damage. I just print a new ship. I do take another like 5 or 6k damage. It's like, what's sad is the CV should have focused me. Because Nelson doesn't have good AA. Even a tier 6 CV can pretty much kill Nelson if it's on its own. I do have a Belfast. But now our Atlanta is basically fighting a Hinchiang and a Surrey. So I try to give him support by putting salvo on that Surrey.
Enemy battleship sighted. Enemy cruisers sighted.
And I do get a pretty good hit. And I knock literally all that Surrey's health off. So basically he can win that fight now. And he has the Ignacio there to help. But he takes a Hinshiang Torp, which pretty much deletes his health and makes it harder on him. But the Inacio is there, and they do pick up the Shuri. So they've basically cleaned up that whole side. The Inacio and the Farragut can basically steamroll that whole side. And you see how they just kind of... I mean, their battleships have just kind of not really done much. They've just sailed back and forth, not really taken advantage of being top tier. And they're paying for it. And since the Nagato and the Alabama aren't in the fight, they're not really being much help to the team. Now, Armagi started all the way up north, and he came all the way down south. And, now, I think, we could have, me and Yoda could have held this side against them, but it is nice that the Amagi did come down here, though, because with him down here, we don't have to worry much about the battleships. Now, Yoda does get Citadel'd by one shell from the Congress. One shell. Everything else goes astray, but one shell Citadels them. And judging by the health, I don't think that Congress had super AP. So it was just a normal Citadel. And he DCP's a single fire. So this Congress is in a very... I was waiting to think, okay, he's going to have to turn out. He's going to have to turn out, right? To get away. But he just angles and just shoots his guns off. And then just turns back in. And he does chunk me pretty good for about 10k. But Nelson only has like 25mm armor. So of course these guns are going to pin. Now, we do lose our Atlanta, but had he not took that torp, odds are he would have just torped the North Coast to death. So it's still kind of in the enemy team's favor. If they can kill the Inacio, they can pretty much win this game. So our goal down here is to get this Congress down. Now Congress goes down to me. I'm at 79,000, and I know we have to get this North Coast down. But again, I wish this is where we're thinking we really need this Amagi to really push up and help. But he's just kind of doing, like whatever. And I'm putting everything on this North Coast, trying to hope I can get a Citadel or do some chunk damage on it, because we need him down. If he goes down, we can win this game. And I'm just angling, just trying to keep these islands between me and the battleships. And the Inacio is going in for a torp rush. There's his guns going off. You can see the North Coast guns are turning. Inacio is just pushing them, and the North Coast doesn't have the best traversing. There's a torps. North Coast whiffs the shots, and Inacio destroys the North Coast with torpedoes. Right there and then, the game is basically switched from their favor to our favor. Because that one battleship couldn't kill the Inacio. And it literally switched just like that. Because if he had killed that, the Farragut and the Hinshiang, he and the Hinshiang could have killed the Farragut. And they do pick up their carrier. Since the carrier was just sitting on that rock, the Farragut was just able to push in, and basically, between the two of them, they just killed the CV. So they don't have their air support no more. And I'm just shooting, because you say the Farragut did drop his torps. Well, now he's pushing into us. And then he goes broadside to me. Between AP shells and then my shells and everything, he goes down. There goes their second to last DD. They only have the Hinshiang that's kind of just been trying to deny that side to them this whole match. And the two battleships that have just kind of, sat in the back, and now they start moving up. Again, like, they sat back for so long, they couldn't do anything. They had the advantage on that corner, but they didn't push it. And we were just able to slowly take them out one by one. Now, Amagi gets a real good hit on that Nagato and basically takes like all of its health away in like one salvo. And he's like thinking, crud. I mean, he sat in the back the whole match and then pushed in, and then Amagi gets deleted basically with half his health gone. Now he's basically facing a Nelson, Amagi, and a Belfast.
Battle ends in 5 minutes.
And a CV. So he's not getting away from this alive. When everything just out DPMs him and he's going down. I mean, yeah, he does get a Citadel on me, but I'm like, at this point, unless he destroys me, it's not like it's gonna work. Now he is gonna be dead to the Amagi on this side. Yep, there he goes. So right there and then it's just the Hinshang and the Alabama left. But you can just see how if you have the ships, you have to push. But they didn't push. They just allowed us to kill their ships one by one by one. And we were just able to out-trade them everywhere on the map. We had, well, complete map control. We had the ability to box their ships in, and they just kept walking into us one by one. And the thing is, after this salvo, I do decide to just switch to HE because I'm not getting any luck with my AP. So, but our Farragut does go down, so we do get more time to kill. Yeah, it's after the next salvo, I believe. Because Nelson HE is pretty good HE. Like anyone who faces Royal Navy battleships knows that the HE is just, well, overpowered and very strong. Torps run out. It's unfortunate. And then I switched to HE because I cannot hit this guy. This guy's maneuvering way too much. So I decided, you know what? HE. Let's HE him. Let's get some fires on him. 6K.
Enemy destroyer detected.
And he just shot HE at the Ignacio. I don't know why. If he had AP loaded, he could have gone right through the Ignacio. Because those ships have no armor. The 16-inch guns will go right, will pin them all over. So, I don't know why he had HE loaded. But the Ignacio just misses that. I kind of wish he had got it, because he could have had a Kraken. Or, well, no, he needed one more kill, but he could have had a Kraken this match. Same as I, but I just could not get that last kill. I possibly could have had it there if I had aimed better, or had shot earlier, but it's whatever. Kill still and Krakens don't really get it, do they? And at this point, it's just cleaning it up. I mean, it's literally just this one DD, and that's literally all it is. And I could have had that DD, but I just underlet it. But our Ignacio is going to pick up the kill. One, he's closer, and he just has better gun dispersion. But he did solid work, like really solid work, this match. They both did.